And we are live. Good afternoon, guys. Let me get the microphone. Maybe then you guys could hear me. Hope everybody's doing well. Haven't done a live in a couple weeks. Hope everyone is doing well. It's going to be a short one today. Hopefully that thumbnail will work and many of you guys will click for all the wrong reasons. Oh, look at that. The notification. Truckers' guilty pleasure. Getting some rest. Guys, today I wanted to speak with you guys about getting some rest and why it's important. Let's wait for a few people to jump in. Bear with me. I'm going to try to make timeline chapters, little spots you guys can click later in the preview so you can kind of go through that. Click through it and kind of skip this portion. Let's take a look here. What do we got? I should probably set up the browser. That way, we'll be able to talk. We got our first viewer, although there's probably more than that considering that YouTube is very, very delayed. Boom, there's that. There's our window. Alex will not be joining us today, so let's go ahead and just shut him down. There he is. Okay, so guys, hope everybody's doing well. Let's see if this works. Oh, look at that, the buttons still work. Wonderful. So that's a good start. I didn't have any music for you guys or anything like that. I do hope you all had a wonderful, and are currently having, continue have, at the time of viewing this video, a wonderful day. Let's see, what are we going to do? I'm going to switch to this. It might be a better way to go. All right, guys. Hopefully we'll catch a few more viewers, but don't really want to take too long. So this is a topic that I actually wanted to do one of the weekly videos on. And look at that, it updated. Now we got a few more. Welcome, guys. Adrian Robles says hello, sir. What we're going to be talking about is the taboo topic of rest and relaxation, R&R, taking some time off. And guys, the reason I want to bring this up is I wanted to make this as part of our part of the videos that we have on Fridays, our weekly videos, and I believe we're going to hit our 200th video, but actually I think it was 201st, so whatever. Never made the video, and so today I got the idea. I said, you know what? Let me just drop all the things I was going to discuss and actually go freely and speak about the stress and that you guys go through, that I go through, that my business partners, dispatchers, and everyone throughout the organizations go through. To a different degree. It generally carries a level of responsibility with it. The more responsibility you have, generally people will be more stressed out. And different people handle stress differently. Different people have different levels of tolerance of it. And some people do well under, let's say a moderate to even heavy level of stress, while other people just fold under very minor amounts, small amounts of stress. Let me put my phone on charge here. Okay. So that's what I wanted to talk with you guys about today. Hopefully, let's see if we get a few more people hopefully popping in here, because I really do think this is an important topic that should be discussed, and it is something that you guys would agree with me. In fact, this would be one of those times. Would love to hear from you guys to call in. The number right there, 801-448-6363. Hit extension 3. It'll ring out here, and I'll put you guys into the video. We can kind of discuss that at length. Now, I'll jump in. We're about 4 minutes into the live. Howdy, Roadrunner. Good to see your name again. Thank you, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so 4 minutes in. Let's discuss it, guys. So I haven't made, I skipped some of the lives. I've skipped a couple of lives and one weekly video. Kind of regret the weekly because the numbers were certainly better than when I came back last week and made the Friday's video. And that would have given us a really good idea of where the market is trending. Nonetheless, I have the numbers. We can get that. However, this video is not so much about trucking and rates and freight and volume and tonnage and blah, 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 right? It's not about that, because sometimes you have to stop working for a little bit in order for your efficiency to get back to normal so you can start to at least enjoy life a little bit, right? And that's kind of what I had to do a little while back, and I'll kind of give you guys a breakdown of how things seem to work out sometimes in life where, and this wasn't planned. I don't have any notes or anything like that to go off of. So if I go off tangent, I do apologize. But the concept is this. Over the last couple of weeks, we had like one thing after another. And I knew that going into like closing out a week, the following week would be extremely stressful. Now, in the past, I would just knuckle down, and just get it done, right? But the more years under your belt, as the years go by and life beats you up, you learn some lessons, hopefully. Hey, Nathan Eberly, how are you, sir? Good to see your name, sir. Thank you for stopping by. I think this is a topic that you will enjoy and might have some something to pitch in. I think a lot of folks will be able to pitch in, and I think we'll get a pretty lively, nice chat session going here in the comments and in the chat. Nonetheless, guys, this is what had happened is I kind of learned that things are going to be difficult, and I have a few things that I know that are coming up that are going to be complicated. I know for a fact is going to complicate things, and if I'm not there fully rested, available, then I can't expect a positive result. No amount of experience, no amount of talent or whatever is going to, fix that. Right and dirty. How are you? How are you, sir? Thank you for stopping by. And I knew that going in. And what it was, we had a couple of dispatchers out. Luckily management takes care of that pretty well, and we, try to take care of that. And a lot of our customers, they know this when their dispatcher changes, right? So we do things in pairs, so we don't randomly throw a dispatcher and say, hope for the best. We have someone else that is already familiar with the carriers or the owner-operator's company or their ways, all their documents, everything. So when we switch over because someone's sick or goes on vacation, these guys hit the road running. So that took a little while to get to that, because you got to do it the way it doesn't work, and then after that, hopefully you'll learn. And I always say hopefully because oftentimes we don't learn. And so very similar to this, in the past, I didn't learn these things, right? We rely on youth, vigor, strength. Let me move this window. Maybe this will be better for me. There we go. And so we rely on, on our youth, on our tenacity, on our energy levels, et cetera, and we plow through, right? But as we get older, we, really can't do it. I think it was better on this side. And so we realized that we can't really do that. It doesn't really work well. So I knew that, we got dispatchers out. We have, I had Alex, who was going to be out for the following week, which was the biggest hit for me because he really takes all the calls now and really does a lot of extra stuff for me and really keeps me straight, and I can focus on certain aspects of the business. And now that he's fully independent, operating autonomously, does very well, I can literally just leave him alone and he just handles it, right? Now, it took a while to get there, and we're still working on it, but I rely on him heavily now. And in fact, a lot of things have changed for me in my own business because I've never had an assistant. And in fact, it took us like 2 years of hiring and failing, and people quitting, and people not wanting to, or people just wanting to get through training for easy money, or whatever other reasons. But they couldn't hang. And Alex, is doing great. He's doing a good job, and he's definitely worked out. So that's fantastic. If he was on the live, I'd never say this to him. And hopefully he doesn't watch this video, because then he's going to get his nose all the way up there. I'm just kidding around. He's a good guy. And very helpful. And so I knew that he would be out of the office. He would be out for over a week. And it's going to be rough. All the calls, all the emails, all the setup packets, all the new customers, everything, as well as everything else that I already have to do. So obviously that's going to make me lose my mind. And so for some time, I wanted to go camping, and everything was falling apart. And I knew that I just really wanted to. There was just this pull, and I'm not like a big camper or anything like that, but I just had the specific pull to go camping, towards nature, get away from all the stuff. And usually, we're talking about a guy who's a geek, who's a computer guy. I'd rather, be in front of my computer, browsing the internet, learning stuff, video games, whatever, you want to, but mainly tech related. And here I am being pulled towards more of a, nature. Then I find out, hey, my business partner is going to be going on vacation during the same timeline. So at the same time overlap, that hits me, right? Really hard. I'm thinking, oh man, I really gotta figure this thing out. Plus on 4th of July, our water heater went out, right? And holidays, you're not going to get anywhere. Luckily, it's not winter, it's summertime, so it's okay. A cold shower here and there is fine, and we were able to take care of it in other ways as well. Everybody's got a gym membership, right? And so we got that handled. Ordered the water heater, right? Things like that. And I'm just kind of building this up. It's not about the water heater, but I'm trying to get you to understand the order of operations here. So they as it turned out, they send the wrong one. They sent the wrong one. And besides the fact that they wouldn't deliver for several days, and we ended up having to, they finally delivered it, but it was the wrong one towards that. And I go and just take care of this, right? And we get it all taken care of, handled, and everything's beautiful. However, before that could be done, I go and, spend some time in nature, enjoy myself, and for just a couple nights in Lava Hot Springs, and just really just listen to the sounds of nature. And there was some water nearby. Sleeping next to that was absolutely amazing, and absolutely, highly recommended. But then when I come back, the first thing that I see I should put some pictures, and people just didn't want to upset me because I was on vacation. I didn't say anything, not vacation, but like just took a couple days off. A tree had fallen on one of the cars, right? So I arrive and there's a tree, and I'm thinking maybe there's somebody in the car because I don't know when it happened. Then you start got to remove the tree, assessments. Good afternoon, Adam Woods. Thank you for stopping by, sir. Thank you very much. So the tree fell on the car, right? You got to take it. And all the stuff is stressful now. Insurance companies, repairs, estimates, this, that, get a rental car. Adam, thank you for stopping by, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And so all these things one after another, right? Then, that kind of, we kind of get that figured out. Then I find out that my grandmother ends up in the hospital, right? Right after. Then we find out she's going to be she was transferred to like a different facility. So it's one thing after another. And why I bring that up is that had I not disconnected, had I not gone camping, had I not gone and taken a little bit of time off, I wouldn't have been able to handle that as well. Now, I'm not saying I handled it well, but I handled it. Not talking about the quality aspect here, because it was going to be a matter of I'm just going to lose my mind because just too much stuff at the same time for an extended period of time. And since I knew that, for example, I couldn't prevent all those other things from happening, but since I knew that Alex is going to be going out, another person, 2 more dispatchers going on vacation, and all these things. I can work with that, right? Because I know that it's going to create a problem based on past experience, so I know I need a solution for that. All that other crap happened afterwards, right? So that was just in addition to that. And I was able to contrast and compare my own responses, my own ability to handle these stresses, my own ability to be able to stay calm and collected and go one thing at it. I was still stressed out. Miller 2-time. Hi, how are you? Good afternoon, sir. And I was able to handle that in a much better, much more healthier way, right? Things could have been really bad. And there were some trying times during that time, during that period. Then, of course, Alex came back, a lot easier. My business partner's back. We've got some meetings planned for tomorrow. We have some other things that are going to be working out. And I didn't do very well on the business side. I mean, I practically wasn't, handled almost no phone calls. A lot of stuff fell behind. Voicemails. I dropped the ball. I've dropped like 5-6 balls during that week, right? All kinds of areas. But I was definitely firing on all cylinders. It's just I was overwhelmed with too much stuff. The amount of work and the amount of stress that would have been there would have remained exactly the same. However, my response would have been different. And so this it looks like I rambled for almost 10 minutes on that. Hopefully it's clear. The reason I bring this up to you guys is because getting rest is such a taboo thing, right? Specifically for men, specifically for business owners, specifically for entrepreneurs of any sort, specifically for new entrants to any industry. Like, how dare you go on vacation? You just started in business. You are expected to grind. And they're not wrong. You should. When you open up your own MC authority, you're going to grind like no other. When you become a lease down owner or operator, you're going to grind like no other. And most likely, and if this is going to bust a bubble for any viewers currently live or in the replay, you're probably going to make less money, okay? You're going to stress more. You're going to work more. You're going to experience so many ups and downs. You're going to experience an emotional roller coaster. And after your first year, when you get out of that, you're going to look back, and then you're going to have some decisions to make, right? Some things you're going to have to think about. Miller 2-time. I was trying to reach you to see if I can get a copy of that Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think that must have been you on the comments. I didn't respond. I did see that. There's actually a couple people that wanted that. So, and there's a few of our guys that we work with. They want the spreadsheet as well. I'd love to share it with you guys. And just like I explained to one of our customers and a few other guys, cannot share it. Not because I don't want to, but because that thing was something that I've worked on for a little over 10 years. And it's had nothing to do with like pride or anything, but it just has to do more with like old Microsoft Excel. When it was initially built and put together, it doesn't allow me to export it in a proper way. Everything just broken. All the formulas are broken. Nothing actually works. And I've tried to do it. And so one of my goals has been to actually make it public by trying to get it converted into something that can be used on the web. Now that conversion is going to be a whole lot more complicated than the spreadsheet itself, but currently and for some time, the only solution that I've had has been kind of an inconvenient one, but it has been thorough. Call me, get the numbers that we need, which I can get you guys a list. I've done this many times. I can pull up some old emails, and those are exact numbers that we'll have to pop in. You get your numbers. I'll literally pop them in on my side, and we'll try different variations. I'll print them to PDF. That'll do. So, you won't be able to change anything, but you're going to have a really good idea. And I promise you that's going to be super helpful. That's going to be eye-opening at that point. So I do apologize that I don't have a better version for you guys, but this was never intended. And that thing, it was initially built for my own trucking company, because when I started in trucking, I had zero idea about anything. The closest thing that I had to trucking was that my brother was working for under a FedEx contractor. That's all I knew. I would give him a ride to the North Salt Lake trucks, their terminal, basically, a huge one. So that's all I knew. So I needed some way to do that. And actually, I think I'll do a video, because I've been exploring some other ideas and some other concepts and other businesses. And what I've done recently, and this was eye-opening for me, is it was brand new to me, totally different industry. I'm looking at some other things, and I found myself again in spreadsheets and running numbers, changing variables. Each thing needs to be broken down further. What's fixed? What's variable? How many days of working with, days, all these things. What about the expenses? Now let's look at the revenue. Let's try different variations. What if this happens? What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? So the reason I tell you this is because you're going to have to find yourself in that situation. You're going to have to find yourself in a position where you're able to gather all your numbers, write them all down, figure out their position, fixed, variable. Is it a business expense? Is it not? Is it necessary? Is it not? And then pop it in and do the math and break it down per mile basis to come to the the closest you can to your operating costs, and then play with the variables at that point and see, sky's the limit at that point. But you also know where your floor is. So I would suggest, I think every business owner needs to do that. But for some reason in trucking, that's the one industry that does it the least. We're just kind of like jump in both feet. Let's buy a truck, jump in, let's make money. And then I see that a lot in hot shots and LTL. A lot of guys will just go out there, buy a box truck. I guess I saw the videos on YouTube about how easy it is to make money and this and that. It's all BS, guys. Don't listen to that stuff. Those guys make money off of YouTube advertising revenue, not driving trucks. So a lot of people do. They'll buy a truck, then that's half the calls that we receive are for hot shots and LTL. We don't do any hot shots LTL. Every one of our landing pages, any of our advertising pages, they clearly state that no hot shots, no sprinters, no this and that for years. The last time I did a hot shot LTL was 2016. We stopped since then. And we only ran that for a short period of time. So, I think it was even before that possibly. So that's the thing about it. But now coming back to the topic at hand, what we're talking about, it shouldn't be taboo for you guys to rest, to take some time off. And I wanted to give you guys some solutions as well, not just talk about it. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments as well. Maybe you have some concepts, some thoughts, some ideas, something that's worked well for you. I think there's some benefits to being a trucker and being able to do a few things. Now, camping comes to mind because that's the last thing that I did recently. And I purchased a kayak. I want to go out because there's something about being in the middle of like a reservoir or a lake that's super calm and just being like in the middle of it, away from everything. Maybe I'm just nuts, but to me, that's pure relaxation. Just like leave me alone. One of the nice things that I had while I was camping was a lack of cell phone usage. Now, we had service, good service, we had internet, we had everything, but power was at a premium. Now I could run and charge it. There was a charger nearby, but the amperage was extremely low. It would take all day to charge. And I didn't really want to run up because the car couldn't be next to the campsite, so I didn't want to go run a car just to charge my phone. What kind of camping is that? So what I did is I placed my phone into one of those super power saver mode, which would last forever. And it's not grayscale like back in the day. You still get a full screen, you still touch screen, and you can pick like 5 applications or 4 applications and like 4 or 5 other defaults, right? Like text messaging, making a phone call, taking a picture, whatever, right? And then like 4 or 5 other ones that like you really want. Now just don't put Facebook and Instagram on there. I mean, it's on you. Don't do that. I put a few other things or whatever, some YouTube music and blah, 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 whatever, right? And being away from the damn phone, because what it does is it turns off all the processes on the phone to conserve on energy. And because of that in the process, what ends up, I'll get to the comments, Miller 2 time. But what ends up happening is you're going to refrain from using that phone like an addict. You're going to step away from that thing. And it's going to force you to chill for a minute. Like in my case, I was a nervous wreck at that point. This is 24/7 for the last 12 years. It's just been insane business, and we've expanded and more, and the markets are up and down and things like that. There's a lot to deal with. And I hadn't really taken any time off. But when I was able to do that, man, I'm telling you, you're going to start hearing the birds. I could hear the water, like just the air, and like looking at the sky was like an international dark space, I think is what they call. So it's a place you could look up and see the sky and see all the all the stars and things like that. And I don't know anything about that, but there was definitely something about looking up and being able to just kind of, there's something about it. It just resets you a little bit. Your circadian rhythm resets. I was waking up naturally early in the morning. I'd get up, make some cowboy coffee. It's still a little chilly because we were like 8,000 feet up or something like that. Not too high, not too low. So it was pretty good. Well, maybe no. I'm thinking some other place. Lava Hot Springs. I wonder how high is that? Lava Hot Springs elevation. 5,000 feet. I'm a big fat liar. So 5,000 feet up. So there's something about it, man. You guys got to do it. You guys got to be able to figure out something. Maybe have just a camping chair and be able to, like, if you got 2 days in a truck, don't spend it in there. Don't go shopping or somewhere where you're gonna get all these excitatory things like video and noise and all this stuff. Get out, man. Get out somewhere else, and I promise you, it's just your response is gonna be different. It's gonna be a lot more healthy. You're gonna talk different. You're gonna walk different, and you're gonna let things slide off your back like water off a duck's back. Just always dry. Everything's fine. Nothing bothers me, right? So, Miller 2 time. I was trying to reach you. We'll get that over. He says, right, I try to explain this to people because all banks want to see is cash flow, and you're making money or you're not making money. It's very true. The bank, before a bank gives you a loan, they need to make sure that you have the capacity to repay that loan. And that's one way to be able to do that. He said, I did that my first 2 years of trucking, bought a truck, and blew my money because I didn't have proper channels in place to make it more successul. Man, welcome to the club. When I started in this business, we did it completely wrong. We bought a box truck, 26-foot Ford F650. Nice. I got to drive the thing, sold it right on time. It was great. Everything's wonderful. But what did we learn? We learned from that time that we screwed up. We bought the wrong equipment for the wrong market, right? Our idea was we're going to go OTR. We only went OTR once on that truck. I sent my brother to Texas, and then he ended up deadheading back all the way back. It wasn't worth it. We never repeated that. Literally, one time, one load. Because we did the wrong thing. We bought the equipment. We listened to some people. We bought the equipment, and then we started looking for work. That's why it's a double-edged sword. I give people crap about doing that, but I always try to preamble that by saying that, look, I did the same thing, man. I'm not making fun of you. And I'm not talking about you, Miller 2 time. I'm just saying this happens so frequently. It's okay to make those mistakes. We got lucky. We were able to get some local customers. We were able to understand that this was local equipment and that we need to put the wrong equipment into the wrong market. There's no point in running that OTR. And then we were able to get a few more customers, few more. From that, we bought a semi truck. It was an old Century. It was a Freightliner Century, and I think that's what it was. Yeah, Freightliner Century, 2007 model year, and stick shift, 13 speed. And it was it was interesting, and we started running with that customer and other customers, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we just got lucky. That's all that happened. I wouldn't have been able to. I'd have to sell that truck or do something, figure out some other ways, or maybe I would have just closed down. So I don't know what would have happened, but we got lucky, and we were able to work with those customers, build those relationships, expand a few more customers, buy a semi truck. And then we took the semi truck and we were doing a bunch of local. When the local dried up, we went OTR. And, now we do a little bit of that, this and that, whatever. But it's, the rest is history. It's been years since that. But it's okay to make those mistakes. And a lot of people do that. But those are things that, that you would hope that, you wouldn't do that, right? But guess what? You're never going to do that again. Like you are never going to do that again because you knew that you spent 2 years spinning your wheels, burned through that money, made all the mistakes. Hey, you've learned a bunch of stuff, and then you learn learn the main lesson in this case that you really need to run your numbers for any sort of business. I just recommend anybody who's out there run your numbers. Make sure you do that prior to jumping into anything, right? Nathan Eberly, I bought 36 acres of land in the mountains 5 years ago for a getaway, but I only go there maybe 2 times a year because I'm always busy trucking. My friend, no excuse. You have 36 acres, not 26. 36 acres of land in the mountains. My friend, if you're still listening, if you're in the chat, you gotta go. You gotta go, Nathan. The land needs inspecting. It is your responsibility to go out and inspect it, 1 acre at a time, my friend. You gotta do it. This is very cool. That's awesome, and I'm sure that land has appreciated in value over the last 5 years. And you bought yourself a little parcel of freedom. So excellent job, man. Love to hear that. That's fantastic, truly. Miller, 2-time. Every trucker needs rest. Get out of the truck. We can see the world in a truck, but we can't explore the world in the truck. Wise words, my friend. You're absolutely right. But look at it like this. So I'll give you an example. We had a customer a few years back. Hope he's doing really, really well. I'm sure he had exited the industry, and I'm hoping that he fully retired and fully traveling the country with his wife as was intended initially. But that's what they did. They used their truck. They used their dispatch service. They did this during a very good time in the market, and then, of course, a good portion of the bad market. They were in that as well. And that's when he left the industry. He fixed his own truck. He took care of everything. But what they mainly did was decide, hey, you know what? We want to go in, let's go to New Hampshire. Whatever. Let's go to Connecticut. Let's, wherever they want to explore, right? Hey, we want to go to Oregon or whatever. And we would send them there. We'd make it profitable. They get out there. They park the truck, go hang out, do their thing. And they call up and say, hey, you know what? Probably like starting tomorrow, what's a better time, et cetera, et cetera. We're very flexible. Let's get going. We probably want to go home, right? Or, hey, we want to go here now or whatever. Sometimes they do it for a long time. Sometimes it'd be shorter trips, whatever. We made money. They certainly made a ton of money. He got out of the industry once he just felt like it wasn't worth it anymore. He was getting older. The market wasn't paying as well. The operating costs were really high. Plus, he had other businesses, and he's done very well in life. They didn't necessarily need that, but he enjoyed driving and repairing the trucks and running a business, et cetera, et cetera. So, but the point is that he made it into a fun thing. Now, can you afford to do that? Probably not. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? You're not near retirement age. You may be in a different financial position. You may be completely upside down on your equipment and are just required to constantly bust your butt. And while I do understand that downtime is costly and it makes it difficult because it's not just downtime, there's expenses in addition to your fixed and operating costs of the trucking business. If you're a owner operator, you're a carrier, you have costs, you have expenses, but believe me, you got to be able to do that. And so you have to be able to get out. Like say you get into a nice area, would it kill you? I mean, would it be would it be that difficult? Do you think it would be that too much to ask for, that taboo to say, you know what? And I'm strictly speaking just on a topic of camping. I'm just strictly speaking on that. Say you're a big time camper. Right? Or say you used to like it. Like now that I'm talking to you guys about it, think about it. Is that something you used to like? Is that something you used to do as a kid or with your folks or maybe with friends or maybe, like say like after college you went off and like, man, that was really enjoyable. Like, wow, I was like a lot calmer back then. Oh, wow, I was like, that was really great. Whatever thoughts that this might bring up, just think about that. Would it kill you at that point? Like once you realize that you're that guy and you would enjoy that, to throw all your stuff in a truck? What do you need? A small tent, maybe I don't know, a tarp or something, or a footprint, right? Sleeping pad, a sleeping bag, maybe a cot, something like that. Just something, you know, if you're gonna do backpack camping, maybe it's a little more pricey, but it'll be light and you can take it with you. Or whatever. Like I don't have any of that stuff. My stuff's so heavy, but the way I do camping is you bring the truck around, drop all the stuff, and go repark it or leave the truck nearby in like an RV spot or something like that, right? So not everyone's cup of tea, everyone's different. But if you could do it, right? Like you could realistically do it and you have the time, right? Because sometimes you're stuck for like 2 days over the weekend. You got to do your reset anyway. And maybe you're waiting for like bright and early Monday morning for a drop at, you know, you're like parked next to the receiver. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're going to deliver that load. You'll be first one in. You're going to deliver that load. And here it starts all up again, right? Because the clock is running now. It's Monday morning. Now you're going to have another week of rushing. But you had 2 days. So please don't take my my tone of voice in terms of like I'm giving you crap. Not at all. Not at all. I'm just trying to get through that. I think it's more doable. I think it's more possible. The biggest struggle you're going to have is actually booking a spot, right? Right now, you can't get anything. Like here, I'm in Utah. You can't get nothing. If I want something for, you know, in the summer, I got to, for next year, I got to shoot for next year and like pay up the money and do it for next year. All the holidays are already booked up for sure, pretty much everywhere. Most of the places are first come, first serve. So that's going to make it a little bit difficult, but it depends on what part of the country you're in. You know, like for example, Nathan Eberly, he doesn't need to worry about it. He's got 36 acres in the mountains, right? So he can just go out there and just do whatever he wants. But not everyone has that ability to do that. Or maybe make friends with Nathan. And you guys are truckers. You guys go around the country. Now, some of you guys might not go in the mountains, you know, because it's mountains, snow or whatever. But there's no snow right now. Yeah, it's going to eat up some more fuel. But like we saw last week, flatbeds did extremely well in the western states versus the eastern states. Yeah, there was more fuel consumption, et cetera, but actually he had lighter freight. So I don't know. Maybe the fuel was about the same. No, he got more miles and more dollars per mile. So and lighter freight than the other person. They both did really well, but it's just the idea that you have like only so many summers, right? You only have so much energy up to a certain time, you know, point in your life where this is like a meaningless. At that point, it's like a meaningless event, right? So, you know, don't mean to make it negative like that, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to discuss that with you, because I just see this all the time. The guys I talk to on the phone, you guys are tired, man. You guys are exhausted. You guys are like squeezed out, and then the male in us is like, no, I got to push just a little more, man. No, I got this. And then like we push through the damn weekend, working through that and whatever. And a lot of times it's not even productive. Like lately I haven't been productive. And then you regret not doing that work, right? Because you're not even productive, so you're just wasting the time. So why not get some rest, right? Turn off that damn phone. You know, turn off the electric watch or whatever. Anything that's giving you information, get rid of it, man. Get rid of it for just a couple of days. I promise nothing. I mean, leave the thing on so you can get some phone calls. Something happens, emergency, whatever. You're always available. Even camping, you can do that. But say it's not camp. Maybe you want to go up somewhere. Like I'm in Utah. I could go hiking, and I could take up the whole day to do that. Spring, any season, right? People go snowshoeing in the wintertime. So, but I'm lucky. I'm in Utah, right? I have that. A lot of people don't have that. Like when I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, no, you have hills, but that's about it, right? But there's other stuff. So like in Lincoln, what I would do. After work, after I'd leave the office, you know, I usually already had a good lunch and everything, so I'd be all right. So I would head out. It's about 20 minutes out of town, and you go to a park, and you know, I'd bring a little chair. I'd make me a nice drink or something, or you know, like in the winter on the weekends or something like that, I'd make a coffee and bring it over there and just kind of sit there. The lake would be frozen over. Like all the insects are dead, all the animals, and there's no sound, there's nothing. So it's just pretty much dead silence. And you can't catch that most places, but Lincoln, Nebraska is pretty quiet when you get 20 miles, 20 minutes out of the city, 25 minutes. It gets pretty quiet. And I promise you that solitude does something for you, you know. Here, you don't really get that, and Utah's getting too busy. Salt Lake is getting very, very busy, so that's the part of it, right? Yeah, every trucker definitely needs to do. Nathan says, my problem is if I go on my land, I don't want to come back to work because it's so peaceful there. Well, at least we're on the same page, Nathan. That's that's fantastic. Well, and you're an honest man. Sorry about that. Jerome Jones. I'm tired, but now I'm taking a couple of days visiting my sister. Good on you, my friend. Jerome, like you're going to visit your sister. That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. It's going to be some time off. I'm telling you, some good stories are going to be shared. Some good food's going to be shared. Whatever, reminiscing, whatever. I don't know how long you haven't seen her, but hey, you're going to go visit your sister. Enjoy, take your time off. Watch. Next week, it's going to be different. It's going to come out different. Now, what I noticed, because when I took that time off and I come back, I don't want to sound woo-woo, but it's almost like the universe was like, oh, you got some rest? You got charged up a little bit? Here's an extra helping crap to deal with, right? So that might happen, but that's part of the process. That's kind of like that sensation of, and I know every single one of you has experienced this, whenever you make the resolve to change something in your life, to make a change, to make something, you're just like dead set you're going to do it. You do that, and all of a sudden, like new problems start to appear that are somehow acutely related to what that change is, right? And you got to get through it because past that mountain range is really where the freedom lies, kind of a thing. But a lot of us, they don't do that. We break at that point and we have to start over. And sometimes we start over on breaking that habit or making that life change. It might take like another 3 years, 4 years of whatever, because we forget that it's important, right? So the idea is that once you make that resolve, you should expect that you're going to, see there's a possibility, a very good possibility, some more stuff will come your way and it will bother you. And it will, create more resistance, and you got to push through that, So that was the case for myself. Now, I don't know. Maybe if I didn't go camping, maybe the same thing in the same order of operations would have happened, and I would have been just, completely out of my mind. So I'm definitely, either way, taking that time off is going to serve you well, Mr. Jones. Very, very cool. Actually, the guy, one of my buddies, since we were kids, I think I knew him since I was about maybe 11 years old, I think, is when I met the guy. His last name is also Jones. Anthony Jones. Absolutely. Victor Johnson. Good to see you, sir. You're a very smart guy. What made you get into trucking versus other occupations? Oh, well, I really appreciate that, sir. Hopefully I am a smart guy, and hopefully I'll be able to take up my own advice and start taking some time off. I really appreciate that. So the second portion of what you asked, as far as trucking versus other occupations, is I was actually looking at other occupations. So really, I don't really see it as me being in trucking. It's just me being in sales. My entire life has always been in sales. Now, and one day maybe I'll talk about that because people have a negative association with sales and salespeople and the whole concept of sales. But that's just kind of how I see my role in all of this. Now, I do own a trucking company and, the dispatch, and there's like all these other organizations and things that we do that are all in the logistics and trucking industry, that we've kind of expanded and did over the years. But it ultimately isn't so much of those specific businesses. It's more of business development. That's always been my thing. Business development is what gets me really interested. And trucking was something that I kind of just fell into. And I actually started to kind of like write about that a little bit because I wanted to like really consider these things. And I've talked about it in previous videos, but in a nutshell, the reason I got into trucking was a couple of reasons that kind of overlapped. Part of it was like basically love. I was a young guy and I had to kind of prove myself and income and all this other stuff just straight out of college, working a crappy dead-end job. And the one thing, there was just a lot of different things that were pressuring me, and I started the company. And it was at the same time when it was happening when my brother was working for a contractor at FedEx, and I had dropped him off at the truck, and he, invited me to, hang out in the truck with him in the passenger seat while he did his paperwork and logs and stuff. And then his boss came over and just was very disrespectful and really, really bad. And I just, kind of blew up a little bit. And then afterwards, some time went by, and I think he had to kind of like, he had a little bit of that to think about because he was leaving on a long trip, and maybe that bothered him. I think maybe. And some time went by, and he asked me. He said, "What do you think you could run a trucking company? Like if we started a trucking company, do you think you could make that work?" And I remember I said, "Well, I certainly hope so. I just graduated from business school." And I was working a dead-end job, minimum wage, at a car dealership. Couldn't sell a car for the life of me. That was that was not good. But that's another story. I actually ended up buying cars, and then finally was asked to leave. I was making the buyer look bad. It was kind of a fun experience. I'll never forget that. That really taught me a lot about what I'm capable of, and how you can easily, even as a low-end minimum wage earner, step on some big toes if you just do a really good job and make someone look really, really bad, because then the boss starts to wonder, why am I paying that guy like 300 grand a year? I got this kid here who's doing the same thing for like $7.25 an hour and like a possibility of commission. So it was just ridiculous. So that's kind of how I fell into it. It was two things overlapping, and the circumstances for me realizing that I was never going to do very well in that position unless I became a buyer. That would have been great, but that was never going to happen. There's just no way. And so therefore I was asked to leave, and I left. And the next thing that we did was start the trucking company. And that was 12 years ago, 12 and a half years ago now. April of 2011 or something like that, or 2012 was the incorporation, but it was prior to that. It was like 2011, I think, or something like that. Nonetheless, did Microsoft being down affected spot loads? Because last 2 weeks was really slow with reefer for me. So I'm not so sure if Microsoft system really had anything to do with that. It certainly had an effect on the industry. It had an effect on also, not necessarily even maybe brokers, but like other organizations. A lot of systems are outdated and very, very much open. And believe me, we're still going to see a lot of problems from that down the line, because the update process of that, the technical side of it, is very, very, very convoluted. There's going to be a lot of things that will need to be decided on, because what happens is that in order to allow the affected computer to be updated and fixed, it has to be open for that period of time to the internet. And the whole purpose was to keep it secure. And so there's a very good possibility that if there are bad actors, and there are bad actors, they're going to be looking for that short window of opportunity during the time when the system has to be open to the internet, open completely like a DMZ zone, in order to have that updated. Now, you and I and our computers, probably nobody cares, but the big organizations can't afford to do that, and it's not something that can be easily solved using like tunnels like VPN, or for example creating sandboxes where you just create a network. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think they'll ever tell us, or maybe later they will, how they're going to repair this, but the after effects will continue for some time. I wasn't affected, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, even if I was, I'd have other systems that I could run, and I have Linux boxes. Now, if my dispatchers were affected, that'd be a different story. We'd have a different conversation about camping. So yeah, Microsoft being down definitely had affected. I've even seen some refrigeration companies that had affected their systems, but though most of those systems were being ran in the cloud, and so it didn't really affect them. It was just being able to actually boot into their systems. So, and there are other ways of being able to avoid that. Like, if that happened to me today, I would have a way to be able to avoid all of these issues. Like I said, it hasn't happened to a single computer in my household, not a single one, and I probably actively have, about half a dozen systems running at all times, just here, and then just God knows how many, out with dispatch and accounting and safety and compliance and all the other people that are working. Not a single computer was affected. So I don't think that it would be such a huge deal. That wasn't really the spotlight. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me kind of tell you here really quickly. Let's see, how do we... See, it's been a long time, so now I don't remember. Let's see here. Not that one. Maybe this one. Or this one. I don't know. So guys, just wanted to show you our page. So what it is that we primarily focus on, and you can watch our videos online. If you guys are in the trucking industry, and I know that you guys are, but if you're a viewer who's watching this video later, if somehow you've come upon this video because you need R&R, because you need time off, whatever it is, you're stressed out, whatever might be the case. I hope this video has been helpful to you, but just so you guys are aware, the number one thing that we do here is dispatch trucks. It came about because I was personally dispatching my own brother when we had a truck. As truckers do, they compare numbers. We started to continuously compare numbers. I was constantly at the top. I had, exceptional sales performance from past jobs, if you will. And my goal has always been to have a team of people doing this, because the one thing that I never was able to accomplish in any of my employment in the past, like not just business, but employment, was that I could never get like a supervisory position or a management position. And it wasn't a power trip. It was never about a power trip. I'm actually not very good in that sense. But what it was is I always wanted to just simply prove to the owners of the company that if you just allow me, let me train these people to do what I do, and your organization will benefit. But most people are short-sighted, and they just figured, well, here we have a good thing. This guy sells everything like hotcakes. He's selling for, like I was constantly, we had this huge screens, and they would have like all our names. I was always at the top of the screens and stuff. Different companies, different places. And so they always kept me in a sales seat. Just, you sell really well, keep selling. That's your job. And so I was never able, in over 20 years, I was never able to even ever have any of those positions. So until I got into dispatching, and then I was able to actually prove it, my concepts, by training other people to do exactly what I did, and to continue to compare numbers. And that's what we do. We dispatch trucks, and we also lease on owner-operators. The leasing on happens with A2C Logistics. That's also there on the logo, AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics. We lease on owner-operators. You guys still work with the same dispatchers. There is no dispatch fee. All that's included in the leasing program. For just the dispatch guys, it's a flat rate, 7%. It's very straightforward. We don't have any of those crazy like weekly minimum fees. Be very wary of those. A lot of dispatch companies charge you weekly minimums. You got to run. Don't walk away. Run away, because they have no interest in booking you any sort of loads. They have nothing. They'll just give you stuff off the load board. And when you realize that, well, I'm paying 5% here or whatever it might be, like 6%, 7%, sometimes more. Or even if it's 3%, but they're just giving me these offers. Like, what are they doing? Nothing. I'm already set up with these brokers. Everything's set up. Like, what are you doing? And then you decide to leave it in the contract. If you didn't read it, so oftentimes they'll say, well, you've used our service for 2 weeks. Now the rest of the weeks, like now 50 more weeks, you have to buy yourself out. And there's like a weekly minimum of like $150 a week or something like that, or $175 a week. Ends up being a ton of money, and they would love for you to pay that to exit them, right? And so this is the kind of crap that they pull. So just be very wary of that. The other thing we don't do is we don't have any like forced loads. None of the loads are under our MC unless you're a leased on owner operator, and it just makes sense. But none of those things. We're not a broker. We don't have brokerage. Bonds or anything like that. We're not a freight forwarder. We are strictly a dispatch service. We always have been. The difference is that I used to run the dispatch service divisionally under my trucking company many years ago, versus once we grew and liability issues would become a question, I had to split the organizations and make it its own separate entity. And so everything is, on a straight and narrow, if you will. So my guys know what they're doing. We've been doing this for a very long time. We've been through multiple ups and downs in different markets, and we can pretty much work with just about anyone who's got, the interest and who will allow us to do our work, who won't just jump in and get in the way every single time. There's so many customers even now that we're working with that just can't get out of the way. Or they will, book themselves when they're in the good really areas. Then they'll find themselves in Atlanta, in Miami, and I don't know, in Alabama or wherever. And then they'll say, hey, book me. And then they'll get upset when you can't book them because they called you at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon out of like Atlanta, Georgia, saying, I can't find anything. Well, yeah, everything's $1 a mile. And like, this is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday or a Friday or something like that, and then people get upset. But you need to be able to let go of the reins. still be active, still be informed, still be a part of your business, but understand that you're getting a dispatch for a reason. You're watching these videos that show you the kind of rates that some of our customers are making. You see the names repeat week after week after week. Like Jason, I think it was one of the guys last week. So last week he did. Like, it seemed like he didn't do as well as everyone else. He still made the list, but the thing is, a lot of people didn't know, or they wouldn't have known unless I told them, which I did, that the previous week he made like well over $7,000, and he was, I think, at like $5,900, like almost $6,000 the next week. So generally, you don't see people doing like well every week or whatever, but we have guys like Milagres, for example. You constantly see him doing really well, and he's been with us forever. And with the same dispatcher forever. And why is that? And so, why is it work that way? It's because of that, right? Because they work like one. All these years, like, he trusts his dispatcher. Like, his dispatcher's never screwed him over, right? Now, have there been issues where the dispatcher miscalculated, or that one load we were counting on fell through, or Milagres had like a bad week or something like that? Absolutely. Absolutely, no one's perfect. But if he was to argue and fight and put sticks in the wheels and make it difficult, then he would have never hit those numbers. And same thing with some of our other guys. Like, literally, I see the same names popping up, and we have a very large amount of like carriers and owner operators. One of the companies we work with has company drivers, so there's a lot of individuals, but the ones who basically allow the dispatcher to do his job are the ones who do really, really well. So, guys, is there anything that you guys like to do for your rest? Like, just think about it. Like, if you're van or reefer, flatbed, whatever might be the case, you're on the load, you come in, they're not unloading you. Now, I know the chances of a flatbed that happening are pretty low unless the facility is fully closed, and the broker lied to you or whatever, or there was some sort of a mishap. But it happens a lot with reefers. Let's say you ran in late, and it was Walmart, and they rescheduled you for 24 hours, and you're just frustrated. You got to run that reefer at like whatever, -10 or whatever might be the case. Fuel is burning up and your hours are burning up and you're just frustrated. How do you relax? How do you get out of that situation? Even if it's your screw up, doesn't even matter. Like, say you were late or something like that, how do you guys relax? How do you find, kind of the joy in life when things are really pressing? Because we know that for the past 2 years, there has been a lot of pressure on many of you guys. And a lot of the folks that we've talked to went out of business. They just could not hold up with the pressure. I've had a lot of folks fall to, not a lot, but I've had some folks that fell to illness. And I promise you, it's stress related. So how do you guys distress? What do you guys do? What's your go-to? If you could drop us in the chat here, we'd love that. Oh, and look, I probably forgot to go live on Instagram. So what we'll do is I'll do it now and cross our fingers and hope for the best. Walk the dog. Erie. All right. IRRI. Or is that an L? LR. Because it could be Larry. Erie. I remember you were in the comments and we had the same funny thing. So you walk the dog. Yeah, this was during the time when we were discussing pets in trucks. So that was one of the videos that we had shot some time back. I'm going to show you this. It wasn't a very popular video, but I think it was definitely heartfelt for a lot of folks that have pets. So it was this one right here. Let's see if we can stop. Let's see, pop up. I want to see the image here. So it was, you want to look for this thumbnail with the pets and stuff like that. And that's the one we talked about pets. And a lot of folks said that it was relaxing, and the studies and surveys that were done have actually found that it was worth it for people. IRRI. Okay. So Erie. Is that right? IRRI. No, that's not the way to go. Do you dispatch 26-foot box trucks with 3-month authority? We don't, Dante, we don't dispatch box trucks at all. LTL, hot shots, first mile, last mile, none of that stuff. No Sprinter vans, no box trucks. Thank you for asking. We do have a lot of folks. Over the years, it's really slowed down, but in the past, oh my God, half the calls, sometimes more than half the calls throughout the day were box trucks. And we did everything we possibly could to say that we do not dispatch hot shots and all that kind of stuff. But, people will still ask. You don't get what you don't ask for, you know what I mean? So it is just one of those things. And we kind of put it right here. Where was it? Transparency, semi-trucks only. We work exclusively with tractor-trailer combinations, not hot shots, box trucks, Sprinter vans, or LTL. We focus on what we do best, semi-trucks, pulling dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds. So this is our advertising page that you land on. And then you just click, yes, I'm ready for change, and then that's it. And then you guys can fill like out any of these forms, the motor carrier forms for carriers, and then of course the lease on owner operators there. All the videos and everything that we got is here on our page. You know, some of you guys may recognize the color scheme of this thumbnail. Based on what I'm seeing in the number of viewers and the number of concurrent viewers we've had, this video did not do well. But hey, you know what? You got to try things. You know, if you don't try things, you know, they don't. You can always change it. I can always change it up. You know, but maybe in the future it'll take off. And again, today's video is a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. I don't have stories for you guys. I don't have some numbers to show you. FreightWaves had a very good article, and because right now is the time when a lot of companies are producing their quarterlies and they're bringing it up. And I've been reading through summaries of multiple different companies, so not the quarterlies themselves, but the summaries of them. And I've just been trying to keep it in my head on what's going on, who's making money, who's losing money, who's adding trucks, who's reducing trucks, what are their profit ratios, and what are they quarter to quarter, year to year, things like that, because it's telltale signs of where the market is going. Because one thing, if I talk to, you know, John or Bob or Bill, who's got like say 3 trucks or 5 trucks or 10 trucks, doesn't matter, or you're talking to a company that got 800 trucks or 2,000 trucks or like 15,000 trailers or 5,000 trucks, different story. Now they might be in a contract market, but if we see major changes in a contract market, we can relay those also to the spot market. A few more comments have come through. Let's take a look. Victor Johnson, listen to Christian music. That's what you know. I haven't listened to that, but I bet that's, you know, gospel music, stuff like that is probably you know, very relaxed, especially if it's something you grew up with, or maybe church going. I was really hoping we got Tex Williams would have been good in the comments here, but he's probably driving or scuba diving. It's one or the other, because I know he scuba dives, and that guy is a mellow guy. And he also does Bible study out of his truck, and he does lots of interesting things that, you know, that might be someone to talk with. We actually have a video. He was a really cool guy. Let me show you here on the screen. It's been a couple months, I think, so let's see if I can find him. It's this video right here. So I'm going to pop it up here. Don't start. Let's see if I can open a thumbnail on this one. Taking a minute to load. I want to show you the thumbnail so you know which video. But if you just search for reflections of a trucker or something like that, so this is the thumbnail that you want to look for. It's got him on there, and then there's some guy. I just found that and made it work. He's got chapters, so he covers a lot of the stuff, and then this way you'll actually be able to click on his name and make contact with him if you'd like to. Video again didn't get a lot of views at all. This one had 500 views in 3 months. It's certainly pitiful, but I'm definitely very happy to have made this video. And you'll see in the chapters, like he talks about hobbies, feeling down, faith, classes, reading, content overload. Let's see here. Text on trucking tips, due diligence, some examples. Did a bonus tip, and then how to find local customers somehow through. It'll make sense. So it's a longer video. I cut it up, and it's got some pretty fun footage there as well. But it's not one of those videos that I knew was going to get a lot of views. But the views that it did get, I know that it was very helpful. He's a very, very smart, very positive, very interesting individual, and I just wanted to share that conversation when he jumped on the call with us. So that would have been absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that, Victor Johnson. Thank you, sir. IRI is the way you say their name. Roadrunner says, when I'm resetting, I'm playing golf. Oh, more power to you, my friend. I've played golf once in my life. An experienced golfer friend of mine said, man, you got to try it. I'm taking you golfing, and did the whole 9 yards with the golf cart and with the beers. And the coolest part was that I got to meet, which is typical for golf, I got to meet some very, very powerful, interesting people while golfing. But you couldn't call what I did golfing, maybe making holes in the grass. That I was very proficient in, and then drinking beers, and there's definitely a different feeling about that, and kind of gives you a sense of freedom. But never went back, and maybe I ought to try that. But we won't tell nobody. When you're resetting, you're playing golf. That'll stay between us and the rest of the internet. Irie says, my boy is therapy dog. People upset me. He eats them. I feel better. A pitching cookout with others is always fun. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, so people shouldn't upset Irie because his dog will eat you. And last time I talked, I thought you said you had a small dog, but he must be vicious. So thank you for that comment. I really appreciate that. But yeah, a pitching cookout with others is always fun. You know, when I went out, it was great because I just got lucky. I had given up on the idea because everyone was following through. A friend of mine who promised to take me and go with me and just make sure everything, you know, that I bottled the equipment and everything was good, kind of helped me out, you know, with the setup because it's been forever since I've gone last. He had fallen through for like 2 weeks, and I thought, oh, okay, well, here we go. Turned out to be, I've been texting the wrong phone number the entire time, and he hits me up and he says, well, did you get all that stuff you were telling about? I was like, what do you mean, man? I've been messaging you. He says, I didn't see that. What are you talking about? So I copied and pasted it, and he's like, I didn't see any of that. But here's what we're doing. We're actually going camping today. I'm taking off at 3 p.m. and this is where we're going. I said, okay, well, is it cool if I join? He says, well, why don't you get in touch with them and see if they have a spot? I called them up and they said, yeah, we actually have a couple spots. Would you want it? I said, of course I do. Absolutely locked it in. Took my brother a couple of nights out over there in Lava Hot Springs, Camp Mary, I think. And I got lucky because my friend was with a bunch of his friends who were celebrating a birthday. There was a bunch of kids and there was a lot of adults, multiple different, like we had the whole setup of all the tents and everything. So I was in good company and they helped us out. We needed a pump, you know, everybody was cool. It was a lot of fun. And it gave me that, you know, exactly what it was. So we didn't really do a pitch and cookout, but the thing is, it was exactly what I needed, right when I needed it, and I hope every one of you guys gets exactly the same. So definitely, Ironhead Production says, do you guys work with new MCs? So yes, sir. So we do work with new MCs, just depends how new you are. I'm not going to lie, you know, if you're going to be 30 days, 60 days, something like that, you know, it just doesn't make much sense. We're not going to be able to really do much for you. But, you know, it depends. Like if you have all your permits and you already got some inspections, you have a lot of positive things, and let's say you're at like 60 days, you're in a definitely better position than you would have been otherwise. So your first couple, 3 months in business, you want to make sure to focus on that. Get all your permits, get all your documents, get all your stuff taken care of. Try to get as much freight as you possibly can. Get set up with brokers as much as you can, whether you work with them or not. Set up some relationships, go run freight. And, you know, when the market was better, we were able to work with guys as early as 30 days sometimes. 60 days was fine, 90 days. And nowadays, 90 days is pretty much like the bare minimum. So it really depends on how old your MC is and what you got going on with your MC. So, and we can look at that on Safer Together, and there's a few other sources with SMS and et cetera, et cetera. So we can definitely take a look at that. Just get in touch with me if you want. You can just text me, Ironhead Productions. Just put, Ironhead Productions, your name, MC number, your phone number. What I'll do is I'll get in touch with you on Monday, or I'll get Alex to give you a call and kind of go over some of the information. And if you got questions, and two heads is better than one, we can run some numbers and get an idea if this is something that we could do for you, depending on your position, your situation. And like I said, if it's a good fit, then we'll do it. If not, if we got to wait and do it later, that's fine too. It's all good. We can figure it out. Irie says, I love hiking with the dog. Of course, you got to be careful where you're at. Across America, we have crossed paths with a rattlesnake, loose llamas, 14 hungry coyotes, a gray wolf, and an elk. Well, that is, you got stories to tell, my friend. Yeah, absolutely. Out here in Utah, the same thing happens. You get up in the mountains. It could be even in an area that's, a well-trodden path where lots of folks go through, and still you're going to get in some scuffles with mountain lions, and hopefully you don't get into a scuffle with a mountain lion. But yeah, mountain lions, and what's the other one that we got here? I forget, but they're larger and a little tougher. Your puppy's almost 11 at 70 pounds. That's a big pup, but 11 years, the years are upon him. But I bet you he's doing really well since you're taking him out all over the place, and he's seeing more of America than most Americans, and he's able to get some green time out in the I wanted to say pasture, but basically go out in the mountains and do your thing. So it's very cool on you, man. That is absolutely fantastic. He says I petted a Yosemite buffalo from the semi and black bears. Oh yeah. Hopefully you didn't pet the black bears, but I think you're referring to running into black bears on one of your hikes. Yeah, there's a lot of that. You know, I didn't expect much when I was in Lincoln. That was, you know, pretty much a given, although it's definitely cold enough for some black bears. But in Utah, up in the mountains, yeah, you'll meet all sorts. I mean, even just outside the city, you can get into some of these areas, and you're going to run into all sorts of stuff as well. So that is quite out there. Yeah, you just think about what's going to be that's going to help you. What is it going to be that's going to get you that R&R, man? You got to do it. It shouldn't be so taboo. You have to understand that it's a part of your reset process. It is a part of you being more productive, more proficient, more efficient about your life, about your business, about how you do things. And the reason I'm talking about it at length today and taking this much time, and then part of the reason because I was going to make this into that weekly video. Now imagine I had to put that into a 5-minute segment. That was tough, and that's part of the reason why I kind of struggled with making that video. Now, I didn't want to talk about it for an hour, but I think this is more of an open forum, and we're having a good conversation, so I think this is definitely helpful. But what I really want to get to you guys, that it ain't all about money. Today, especially the young ones out there, really listen up, because you got guys that are talking about grind, use those years to do it. You got guys like Andrew Tate. You got guys like how did I forget his name? Alex Hermosi. Both of these guys are cool. Both of them achievers, tough guys, right mindset, in many ways, and correct thought process, correct values, correct ethics, morality, all lost terms. How many of you watched the opening of the Olympics, right? So absolutely you could do that. But remember that one way or another, you're going to get to where you're trying to go. But it's going to be a hell of a lot easier and more effective if your mind is working and you're efficient, right? I'm telling you, there are days when I sit here at the office and there's a wall ahead of me and I'm just staring at the wall. I kid you not. That's the God honest truth. Because you're so burnt out at that point, you're not doing anything positive, but you're also, for business, but you're also not taking that time to do something positive for yourself personally, which is preventing you from doing something positive for your business. Now imagine that continues for weeks. Now imagine that continues for months. Now imagine that scenario when you're brand new. You'll be out of business. You're not stable enough to be able to do that. You have to grind. So you have to find those ways to relax and get your mind off of things. So that's the topic of the day. It's going to be let this one be a different live. I don't care. That's completely fine. I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope that even just one person, whether it's in today's live session or in the replays, is going to look at this and say, you know what, man, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this to heart. Where am I at? Just look around. Where are you at today? So it's Sunday. Maybe there's not enough time in the day now to go do something crazy, but maybe you could take an Uber, head out somewhere out of town a little bit, maybe go for a little stroll or go into town. Maybe there's some water somewhere, some fountains or something that's going to kind of relax you in the rest of your in the rest of your time that you have, until your reset, basically, right? Your reset completes, because most likely a lot of you guys are sitting on loads for tomorrow morning deliveries, or you're empty, and it depends how you finished your week. Maybe you got stuck somewhere and you had to just spend for no reason and just burned operating costs. It wasn't even a matter of having to need a reset, or maybe you were forced into a reset. So that means you kind of went into the weekend with a bad attitude, right? Not really feeling too good. So goes double time for you. You want to make sure to take care of yourself in that sense, because next week can be another 7 days of crazy. And what if that week ends crappy? You know what I mean? It could lead one thing to another. And another thing is that if you do take care of that in some way, some R&R, maybe, I know that in previous sessions and in that Tex Williams video that we did, he talk about reading, right? So for some guys, they love it. It resets their head. But for other guys, they hate it, right? It's stressful to them. So don't do that. Then that's not going to be good for you. Maybe you enjoy a movie. Maybe one movie in the theaters, nice sound, nice this and that, and maybe that's going to be what it's going to take. I remember when I was in Lincoln, I was just bored, and I thought to myself, man, I haven't gone out to a movie theater in like years at that point. So I literally went by myself, and the movie sucked, but I'm still glad I went because I got out. So just small things, you know what I mean? Now, Irie is saying his early years when I was a mover, a bedbugger, traveled to many Air Force, Army, and Navy bases, waiting to get vetted and allowed in. I would walk my boy MT. I have so many photos of MT. So he's saying, oh, you probably see like Montana maybe? Or your dog, MT, maybe that's what you call him. Peeing in entrance signs. Welcome to Hill Air Force Base. Okay. Sigma grind sets the way. Adam Woods. Sigma grind set is the way. Adam Woods. Expect no less. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, alpha, sigma, whatever, verbiage we got to take, but we got to rest, man. There's something. I promise you, Andrew Tate rests. And he rested even during that time when he used to eat that, that used up KFC chicken with his brother, right? The stories that he tells. Even when he had to walk everywhere, they didn't have a car. Even during the times when he had to just go through the boxing training and all that, to get to where he needs to be to become the champion that he was, right, or he is. People minimize that to make it look like they grind. They push you to do that. Now, some people can, but again, you can't do that endlessly. And if you really look at those some people, they fit in that R&R somewhere. That's just what it is. One day, I really hope to bring on a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, to do a video with you guys, just an interview. I would love to, because just listening to this guy is going to be amazing. And the reason for it is because this guy is very interesting. He's also Armenian like me, but what is different between us is that whatever this guy touches turns to gold. All right, pretty much Midas touch. And it's not for no reason. He does some things that no one else does, that most people don't do. He does the things that hyperachievers do. I'm fortunate enough to be on his Instagram feed, and we talk from time to time, message. Sometimes I text him or whatnot, right? But I see his pictures. And what does he do? He finds the time to go fly fishing all the time. They go into canyons. They go camping. His kids got a whole bunch of activities that he does besides running multiple businesses, like high-end businesses, like having, like the cost of running 20 trucks or something like that, those operating cost levels. He's not in trucking though, a different business. He has lots of different businesses. And what's interesting is that he does way more than I do and he's less stressed. He does his thing, he's always in good shape, always looking good. He gets up at 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning every time, grind and shine kind of a setup. But he achieves these things. He's in better shape, physically, mentally. He looks good. Everything's in place. So I don't know anyone else with a busier lifestyle, with a more, full lifestyle. And I understand that truckers, guys, trucking, I've been in this industry for so long. You guys put in the hours. I get that. I totally get that. But you got to run the business, not let the business run you. So especially if you're a carrier, and even if you're in a bad spot financially, okay. Okay, that's fine. What's one day going to do? Take a couple of days off, relax. Don't let the lost revenue be in the back of your mind, eating away at you and constantly gnawing at you. Like, how do you do that? How do you dare do that? We're losing money. Because that even this week, if you're losing money, even if you do 1 more week or 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks, that's not going to solve the problem, right? What's going to solve the problem is for you to take some time off. That's what we're talking about. So definitely appreciate that. Sigma grind, the grind set is the way. Adam Woods, that should be a t-shirt. Sigma grind set. Irie says stretch exercise, experience life, get out of that truck, eat your salads, see the world. Man, powerful words. That's all material for the shirt, you know what I mean? Put it up there. Stretch exercise, experience life, Get out of that truck. Fantastic stuff. You're absolutely right, man. You gotta get out there, see the world. You guys have the opportunity. I had a friend of mine, still friends. We met years ago at another company that we worked with. We used to carpool together. Very, very smart guy. Eventually, I left the company. He worked there a little bit longer. Then we lost touch. He ended up becoming a trucker. I stole him from the company, hired him on with our company. And he was a company driver for us. Then he left, became an IT guy. But the reason I bring this guy up is because out of a 12-month year, this guy spends probably more than 6 months out of the year traveling. Now he's a work from home kind of guy or whatever, laptop. He's a software engineer, programmer, so he's able to do that. But what's cool is that he actually takes advantage of that and goes on trips. Now that's not everyone's cup of tea, and I completely get that, but he told me in one of our close conversations that one of his non-negotiables, one of his requirements in life that he had built his career around, and the whole concept of putting making money, building wealth, setting yourself up for success, always had a non-negotiable of being free to travel whenever, for however long that he needs to. And he does that. I mean, he's been around the world like multiple times already. Right, he's got friends all over the place. He's been through like Southeast Asia like multiple times. Right, he's been to my country where I was born and raised, and he's been to where I was born, where I was raised. 2 different countries. He's been to tiny little countries that like why would you go there? But he's gone there and he's learned about. I mean, you know what I mean? That's all expanding your mind. And I'm not telling you guys to go jump on a plane and spend the next like 4 months trekking the Himalayas or whatever, but we don't got to do that, right? Irie gets some fantastic. Thank you so much for all the stuff. And if you guys have other comments, stuff that you do that helps you, stuff that you like that was like eye opening to you, like you just something simple that would help a trucker, man, can you imagine like a bunch of guys watching this video, they actually implement some of these things? That would be really great. He said, keep a bicycle with you. Absolutely, seen a lot of that. If overnight on south side of Chicago, stay in the truck. You're absolutely right. And if you're on the south side of Chicago, just, camp inside the truck. I think you're going to be a lot better off, and probably smell better too anyway, if you're at a truck stop in the summer. But yeah, good stuff. All right, my friends. Well, thank you very, very much. Again, my apologies for the extended video today on a single topic. Definitely appreciate you guys sticking around. Thank you very much. The upcoming videos that we're going to be doing are going to be get back to our normal schedule. We're going to cover the normal topics that we do. We'll do our weeklies on Fridays. If you want to start off right next week, if you're not working with us but you are a carrier, you have your own MC authority, you have your own equipment, you have the audacity to work and the tenacity to work in this market, then absolutely get in touch with us, because our guys know exactly what they're doing. Also, if you're a leased on owner operator who leases under other MCs, who you have your own equipment, your truck, or even if you need a trailer, we got them too. Or if you got your own trailer, bring it over. You got your own plates, bring them over. You don't have to get ours. So there are lots of benefits to working. The dispatchers are going to be the same guys. You're going to be able to continue working with those guys. And these are the same people that make these videos. So if you can see, there's like 20 pages of a whole bunch of videos on each page. Every one of these videos, the majority of these videos, the vast majority, are going to show you different loads and different the runs that we do every single week. So we've put, the proof is in the pudding, and it's all right there. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Smash the like button if you would do so. Check out our other videos, and let us know if we can help you out. Carriers, owner operators, everybody's welcome. Have the wonderful rest of your week, and try to get some time off this coming weekend or throughout the weekdays. Hopefully you guys have an awesome week. Again, anything you need, give me a call. If you need those permits, that email, text me your email, your name, whatever. I'll send it over. It's not a big deal. It might take me like a little bit of time. I'll get it over to you. And Irie is full of recommendations. Says, have a hobby, keep a bicycle with you, basketball, frisbees. Adam Woods is just laughing. He's he's just loving this. And then he says, soccer ball. Man, just do something, guys. Take some time off. Enjoy yourself. Much love, everybody. I really appreciate you. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.